All right, ladies and gentlemen, looks like we are officially live. I'm just going to trust the Facebook process and just believe that we're actually live. I have this urge to check my phone because it's like, that's like standard practice, right? It's like check your phone, making sure you're live. But 99% of the time, like you're going to be live. So we are live. Welcome. It has been weeks since we've done an actual Automate Your Agency show. This is episode number 42. We have a very special guest today. I also have my business partner, Raynard, here, and we just miss every single one of you. It's been a couple of weeks. We've been going through some changes when it comes to the content that we put out into the group. I heard that Raynard's probably going to cut out some of the content in this group. I don't know what he has up his sleeves, but it's like lots of good stuff coming out. But I'm so excited for today because we have a very special guest, right? We're obviously in a Facebook group. We're all controlled by Lord Zuckerberg when it comes to just, what we have, right? But I think one of the areas when it comes to marketing that a lot of people, kind of not say turn a blind side on, but it's like they don't have a lot of expertise in is actually running profitable Facebook ads. And today we have a gentleman that has lived and breathed Facebook ads for most of his life, I assume. And he's actually known as one of the top strategists when it comes to Facebook ads, not just in the Philippines, but hell, all around the world. Over the last 6 years, he's really taught students and also helped business owners. Like I think today, just looking at my notes here, he's helped over 300 businesses and coached, 2,000 students, right? 2,000 students to grow their business. That is more students than an actual school can take on for a year. And this guy has single-handedly taken care of 2,000 students. He's taught people in all sorts of industries all across the globe. And I'm just excited. Like, I am so excited. I am not a pro when it comes to Facebook ads. So I have a lot of questions. I'm sure Raynard has a lot as well. But ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Mr. Julian. How are you, man?
Hello. Hi, Fran. Thank you. Thank you for that intro. Hi. Thank you for having me, Fran and Reynard. Very grateful.
Man, this is Facebook ads domination, right?
Yeah.
This is like whoever is live and watching the replay here, like you're gonna have such a profitable year just by watching this one single interview. So Julian, for people who don't know you, I mean, I gave you, kind of like the rundown of like, what your experience has been, but I think it's good to just kind of hear from you what your experience has been like, how you even started down this path and all that good stuff, man.
Yeah. Again, thank you for having me. Hi, everyone. My name is Julian. You can call me Julian. I'm from the Philippines. And I've been doing Facebook ads for, I think, going on 7 years now. Started back in around 2015 by accident, actually. I was in a different country. I lived in Malaysia with my wife, and I couldn't get a job, so I was exploring different things. And long story short, this whole process of learning, but I learned Facebook ads and Google ads, and I got hired by an agency, and that's actually when I started learning. And they threw all these different clients at me, so I learned more than just the skills of it, more than the skills of Facebook ads. I learned the fundamentals of marketing, which I think really helped me teach it back when 2017, when I came back here in the Philippines. It helped me teach Facebook ads to people, teach marketing to people, because I got that experience. As you mentioned, I've been working with around over 300 businesses, both locally and abroad across different industries, mostly doing Facebook ads for them. And now we've also focused on teaching it as well, so that, the work what we do, we help a lot of people. And my dream is really to give that knowledge and give that power to more people so that they can help more people. And I think in that way, in the work that we do, we're actually able to create better lives. So yeah, that's all about me.
Nice. Sounds
Power
good.
to the people, man. Yeah.
For sure. So I think we can kick it off. So, one of the reasons why we really wanted to bring you on the show, because, a lot of people, we're so focused on this group. We're talking about systems a lot, agency scaling and all that. But one of the things we always see from the people we work with or people we talk with and even the group are, of course, how do you, especially for ad agencies, which there's a lot of them in this group. Like, how do you actually, what's the thought process behind like creating like, successful Facebook ads, right? There's a lot of templates out there that, a lot of people start out with, which again there's nothing wrong with that. We do advocate, standardizing your ads, finding a good kind of like framework to use, especially if you've niche down as an agency. So we talk a lot about that, like offer and all that. But yeah, like for people who maybe either are looking to get started, or maybe they have an agency and then like they have these clients that's starting to perform poorly. What where do we start, like with Facebook ads? Is it, do I start in ads manager, do I start somewhere else? Well, what's your philosophy behind that?
Yeah. So for me, it really, I really need to take a step back first rather than really focus on the ads itself. And
Mm,
one of the things I ask my clients is what is their goal or what is their objective for the ads, because that really will determine how we will approach the whole strategy. If a client comes to me saying he or she wants more sales, that's a different strategy versus someone who is wanting to scale,
mm,
versus someone who is wanting to rebrand or try something different. And I think one of the things that really helps us out and really takes away all the overthinking complication is really aligning with that. So I confirm with the prospect or the client, what's your goal? Because sometimes you'd find that they'd say they want sales, and then, hey, I heard that Facebook ads can help me out. So I want to try it. I want to hire you, only to find out that later during the process that it's not really Facebook ads that they need right now, but maybe a better way to close clients. Because in my
mm,
experience before, a couple of years ago, when I would just take on any clients, so this guy was willing to pay me $1,000 just to generate leads for his system. So all right, great. So I was doing that. We were generating leads for his webinar. After a couple of weeks, he went back to me and said that, hey Julian, I'm paying you this much, nothing's happening. Then I was, hey, I have all the stats to show you that it's generating leads. Apparently, he did not know how to close those leads into sales. He was just told that, hey, if you bring people to this webinar, then you can convert them.
mm,
So I did not really align, or I did not really see the big picture then. But now what I do is when I take on discovery calls for clients, one of the key things I ask them is, number one, how do you turn leads into clients? Because if they don't have that process yet, then a lead generation strategy, no matter how good, will not be as effective if they're just always having a a drop off because they're not converting, because the person who's in charge of closing is not able to close. So I think before we get into the technicalities, we really need to look at that, because that really determines it. Now, when we're able to determine that, hey, I can help out this person, then that's when we get into the weeds of it, right? So we identify, so we onboard them, we get them into Ads Manager, or they get us into Ads Manager. And then the next key thing, again, before the technicalities, is understanding what the offer is.
mm,
And it's not just the product. Why is the product, or why is the service you are offering, why do people want it, basically? And it's not, I think a lot of people, even until now, they think that, hey, my product is selling as long as I put it in front of people, it will sell. But it's not always the case, right? So I look to understand, hey, who's your target audience? Why do they want your product? What is life like for them? What is the transformation you are wanting to give? And I think this conversation really helps a lot with how we plan the campaigns, how we write the copy. Even if we're not working with any templates, once you understand really the thinking behind what will allow people to inquire or opt in as a lead, that really helps. So like recently, despite the whole pandemic, I've been working with a real estate broker for about a year already. And one of the things that are working for our relationship is that the broker, the business owner, really knows who his audience is depending on the offers. So he would tell me, Julian, I have a townhouse that I have for sale. I'm looking for people in specific neighborhoods who would want to buy this townhouse. They should be a family person, middle aged, preferably Chinese, because I would want them to be my target market. So because of that specificity, yes, we would have campaigns that would have high cost per leads, but they would always be quality. I would always touch base with the client, saying, "Are we hitting our target audience?" And he would say yes and everything. So I think it's that. Before all the what to click and everything, it's understanding the marketing fundamentals behind it. Why do people want it? Is your sales process already working? Yeah, and that's basically my whole thought process when I'm taking in new clients and I'm creating campaigns for them.
Nice. So the secret to good Facebook ads isn't even the Facebook ad itself.
Yeah, yeah,
Shoot. Oh,
Yeah.
precisely.
wow.
This should be changed. The title should. But yeah,
I'm
I
gonna
think
change that
those are
right
really
now.
those are great insights, and yeah, I think this is one thing that a lot of people overlook, right? That they start an ads agency, and then they're like, okay, I'll drive you leads, but then yeah, they don't get clear with the client if they're able to convert them, or like you said, are they clear on who's their target market? You bring up a great point. Like being very specific will help you. The cost per lead might not look nice, but then you get the quality leads that convert anyway, right? So
Yes.
like, and in the end, that's what's important, right? So I think that makes a key point that when you start working with clients and thinking of campaigns, you always have to be thinking, how can this, how will the client convert it, and how can I build the campaign so it aligns with their goals. So that's really good. So like, again, the secret to good ads to start is not even the ads
Yeah.
themselves.
Yeah.
So how do you so let's say someone already kind of like puts in the work to understand the offer. They're like, okay, this guy will be doing lead gen for I don't know, like a clinic of sorts, and then like, okay, I know this guy is trying to sell this. I want to work with this niche. I've had a few clients here, but I know the offer. I'm having trouble like running the ads. What's usually the first, let's say, maybe 1 to 3 things you look um, at campaigns to kind of like diagnose like what they're doing?
Mhm.
What levers do you see are most important when you see a campaign not performing?
Yeah. For me, I would always check percentages. I think that's the one of the most important thing. Just a quick explanation why. Usually people would use cost per lead or
Mm.
cost related metrics for their KPIs. The reason why I don't use that as my primary metric is because costs have two main factors. Number one would be the quality or performance of your campaigns, and number two would be the competition around your target audience.
Mm.
The performance is something that we can control. The audience is something that we can't control, and we can't tell everyone targeting that, hey, stop advertising, right? So, which is why I like working with percentages. Another reason why is because even if you're working with maybe a smaller budget or it's not running that long yet, because they're percentages, it can give you an idea already on how you're doing. So the three main percentages I look at when I look at an ad campaign are click through rates and conversion rates for specific reasons. Click through rate. So there are two types of click through rates I look at: click through rates all and click through rates link, which can be found in Ads Manager. Click through rates all counts all the clicks that happen divided by the number of impressions or number of people, number of times it was served. Personally, I would like to see it above 5%.
Mm.
That's not an industry benchmark. That is my personal benchmark based on history. But if it's below 5%, that usually tells me that my creative needs, we need more testing more creatives because it's not getting the attention of the audience. And we can test different copies. We can be the best copywriter out there. But if your creative does not get the attention of your target market, then no one will read it. Right.
Mm.
So that's why the first thing we look at is, are people actually stopping the scroll and reading our copy? So we want it to be above 5%. Now, if click-through rate all is above 5%, we look at click-through rate link. And we want that to be at least 1%. If it's below 1%, what that means is people are clicking, your target audience are seeing your ads, are engaging, they read the copy, and it's not enticing them to move forward with the next step. All right, so we want a stronger call to action. We'll test a different copy to bring that click-through rate link above 1%. Now, if our click-through rates are good, and then our conversion rate in the back end is what's low, then we usually change the targeting because we're generating traffic, but they're not quality traffic to convert towards the next step. These recommendations are not 100% all the time, but these are, especially when we're getting started, these are the things that we look at. For conversion rate, our benchmark really differs. In general, for lead generation, we want it to be at the very least 20%, but of course we shoot that to be above 40 or 50%. Someone that clicks, sends a message, or opts in for whatever, if I have a landing page. If we're driving traffic to like a sales page or an e-commerce store, we'd like for conversion rate to be at least 1%. that will tell us that the traffic is somewhat quality. If it's below that, then we'll look at how we can improve that. So those are the three main metrics I look at, and what I do if they're not at par.
Nice, good stuff. And I
What
think
were
it's
those
really
again? It was
go
CTR,
ahead.
Yeah. Click-through rate,
conversion.
all,
Yeah,
click-through rate, all, click-through rate, link, and conversion rates.
gotcha. Okay.
Nice. And yeah, I think that's really key because a lot of people, like you said, really focus on the, I think what people talk about is the CPC, cost per lead. And those are good. But then if you want to dive deeper and really diagnose like why is a certain thing not working, I think these metrics are definitely are key, right? And I think for some, maybe some are not very familiar yet with the difference. So maybe we can dive in like what's the difference between to those who don't really haven't really touched ads manager much. All you look at is that CPL or like that ROAS. Doesn't everything else doesn't matter. What's the difference between a click all and a click link? Like how do you make the difference? Yeah.
Clicks all is any type of click that happens on the ad. If they click on the see more button, if they click to engage, if they click to press the mute button on the video to play,
If your
any
phone
type of
falls on
click.
your face, like,
Yeah,
is
their
that a
phone
click?
on your plate. Yeah,
One big click.
yeah, precisely. So that any type of click on the ad, anywhere on that, is counted as a clicks all. Clicks link only counts the clicks to your button or the clicks to your links in the copy.
Nice, got it. So just to recap, clicks all is any touch on the ad, right? Basically, like see
Yeah.
more, someone thumbing around the video, maybe touching around, pause, play. I think even likes and stuff are counted
Yeah.
a bit, right? Any touch. So that's clicks all, and I think that's why you said that clicks all or the at least the ratio between clicks all and your impressions will tell you how your creative is helping capture the attention, right? Because
Yes.
if someone's touching your ad a lot, it's like they stop, right? And they're touching it and they're like,
Yep.
going through it. That's clicks all. Clicks link is the, like you said, actually going to the landing page or to Messenger, wherever you're sending. So what would it mean if like someone is like, let's say your click through rate all is high, and let's say the click through link is really low, and whatever is the benchmark for the industry. So what would that mean for the person running the ads? What does that identify?
Yeah. So for me, it's really testing different copy and testing copy that would really have a stronger call to action, because that would happen there if those are the stats. High click through rate or low click through rate link. People are hey, what's this? It's driving curiosity, it's driving engagement. But when people click it, it's not something that they want to proceed with. I usually see this with long form copy. And long form copy, I think that's and when there is no call to action at all. So I think those are the two main things that usually I see. So if you're trying to see these stats and you have long form copy, you may want to either test a shorter copy, or what I recommend with long copy usually is, so with Facebook, you have your phone, people are reading, and if people see it's long, it's either they stop and read, they take the time to read, or they just scroll past it, right? So for me, what I recommend with long copy is from the start of the copy, you're able to express why people should read it, even if it's long. Because I'll give you an example. I like writing a lot of stories, whether in my posts or whether in my my ads. And if my ad went something like, it was a dark and stormy night. We had no electricity. My phone, my laptop had no battery, and I had nothing to do. Luckily, I had a book with me that was sitting there for about years, and I finally opened it. Blah 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 blah. At any point while you're reading that, if you get bored, you can simply scroll, and you'll miss out the rest of the message. That's why I recommend, if you are using long copy, from the start, do explain to the readers what they would get out of reading it. So, for example, compare what I just did versus something that starts with, how a dark and stormy night helped me double my business in 60 days. And then the long copy. What happened was a dark and stormy night, blah, 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 blah. Now, from the start, the decision has been made by the readers whether or not they will read it. Now, versus the other one, where in every line, the reader has a choice. Do I continue reading or do I stop? Do I continue reading or do I stop? But if you have the main thing from the start, even if it's a long copy, chances are people will be more open and more likely to read it, especially if the promise is something that is very enticing. right? So that's
Mm.
my recommendation when you have long copy and it's not generating a lot of clicks. Now, if the concern is a weaker call to action, then it's really just reinforcing it. What telling people what they want to do. Click here to chat with us on Messenger. Click here to learn more. Click on the button below so you can learn more about this offer. So those are my two main recommendations there.
Nice, sounds good. So yeah, so if anyone out there is struggling with, I think there will be a lot of people who's like, "Whoa, this CTR all thing, what is that?" So you can see that in your ads manager. I believe it's under performance and clicks or
Yep.
something there.
Yeah.
Take a look at those numbers. So if you have anyone watching this video, replay or live, if you have a poor performing ad or campaign, take a look at that ratio between what's your click through rate. All is it very very distant from your click through link, and make these adjustments, right? And I think you make a really interesting point on that's why the percentages are more important, because I would even say with that's the thing, right? They're different levers. Like I would say we've had experience where we test shorter copy and long copy. The long copy might get let's say lesser clicks, so a lower click through link,
Mm-hmm.
but then the conversion rate is higher
Yeah.
because the traffic is more qualified, right?
Yes.
So I guess that's also something I guess to add on to that. From my experience too, is like you have that's why it's very important, like Julian said, to look at all the ratios,
Mhm.
or the percentages,
Yep.
because they will affect each other, right? People
Yep.
usually think it's like, it's all about driving the CPC down and your
Yeah.
CPL will go up, down, but then you have cases where you can drop your CPL, your cost per click, because you make
Yes.
a more, let's say, spammy ad or like clickbait
Yeah.
ad, then like no one converts because
Yep.
they were like
Yes.
completely misled. So yeah, that's very interesting. So yeah, if anyone's struggling with that, here's your answer, right? So that's number one. So I think, friend, do you have any
Question.
questions?
I
Yeah,
do,
go.
man. So we made a post last week just asking the group like what challenges they have when it comes to Facebook ads and all that. And since we're on this topic, like Jake felt asked troubleshooting. Like one of his struggles is troubleshooting when you had great research and great strategy, but
Mhm.
ads aren't performing. So is what you just shared, Julian, is that kind of like does that help in terms of answering that? Like those
Yeah.
three kind of metrics that you look for and all that?
Yeah, definitely. I think so. I would always recommend that it's a 1-2 punch. Always, it's not one over the other. It's research and testing, because
Yeah.
research can really help. Definitely, I'm very big on research, understanding what the target market wants, but testing will always be a good part of that as well. Really seeing what the market wants. I think I'm guessing you probably have this experience. Maybe other people have as well, wherein you would have one ad that you'd think this is the best ad I've ever written. All right, this is the greatest ad. But for the hell of it, I'll test a second ad just because always be testing. Have a second ad. Don't put much thought in it, and when you run it, the second ad, the one that didn't get much thought, that's the one that's converting well. And I'm not one to argue with the results. Like Rina was saying, we have these benchmarks, but we have this client wherein we have high cost per we have high CTR all, but a low CTR link below our benchmark. But hell, it's converting very well on the back end. It's getting sales and everything. So we're not making um, changes to that because we know it's converting. We're testing something different, but that is really working well for us. So it's really those two in combination. That's why I recommend, yes, do the research, but don't get stuck on the research.
Yeah.
The sooner that you can launch something that will allow you to get more information, more data, and really to stop overthinking whether this really is working or not. You do research, you do intentional research, you implement it, and then you check it out. I think one of the things that I really like is that idea of ready, fire, aim. You're ready.
Mhm.
You get what you need. You build something based on research, and then you just let it go. You just fire it, and then you wait for the data to tell you what to do next. And I think that's what allowed me to have less stress when it comes to managing campaigns, is because the numbers are there. They're telling me what to do next, and I don't have to really rack my brain. What do I do next? What do I do next? The numbers are all there telling me what to do. So yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
Makes sense. Makes
Nice.
sense. Yeah, and I would add on to that, like I think the whole research thing, right? It's like I guess the point of research is to give you a better starting point. But
Yeah.
like Julian says here, like what's really important is to get the data in and then iterate, right? That's why you have to look at these CTRs, these conversion rates. Because yeah, we've had so many instances, right? We think this ad would do well, we do put a video out, and then like this image ad with a white background of the product, like it's working. Like what the heck?
Yeah.
So you never know, right? So
Yeah.
that's I hope that answers. I guess that answers the question, Fran, for you.
Yeah, and I'm just curious, like, so it seems like when it comes to running ads, and just in general, not even with Facebook, right? Is there's this initial phase of research and testing, right? Like you don't really know what the successful one is until you put some money onto it, and then once you kind of found that, either you optimize or you beat the control, right? So it's like, would you suggest for agencies at least, or for people running ads, like when they talk to their clients, like just in terms of setting expectations, like, hey, maybe a portion of your budget not going to be profitable at start because we're going to be testing a few things, and then once we find the winner, then we'll scale the rest of that out. Like, is that how you kind of structure it with your clients and how you teach students too?
Yeah, definitely. Because the way I run the agency is really towards as much as possible not stressing me out. So I feel from the past I feel stressed out when, hey, I would promise something and then it's not happening. So I'm usually upfront really with my clients that, okay, for the first couple of weeks we would be testing, especially if they haven't run campaigns before. We will be testing. We're not sure where this is going yet, but we have a particular structure in place that will tell us whether something is working, something's not working. But we will be in constant communication. I think that's one of the things that really helps me out. But yeah, really setting the expectations. Because of course, for some clients, especially if they're spending a lot, they'd want to know where their money is going, what's happening, and especially if it's not generating sales immediately in the back end, they'd want to know why. Right. So for a lot of my clients now, yes, we have campaigns that we launched in the past couple of weeks, which are not there yet. It's not to the conversion rate we want yet, but we're not receiving as much backlash as we did before, because we set that expectation and we are in constant communication. So the client knows that we're on top of everything, and that this is part of the process. So yeah, I think having that conversation, setting those expectations would really help.
I love it. Love it. Yeah, I think that answers the question from Jake. Yeah.
Nice, good stuff. All right, so yeah, I think now that we've kind of drilled down, okay, these are the numbers, that are very important to really. So let's, I guess, recap. First you gotta get the strategy down, right? You gotta understand the offer, do your research, make sure the back end works for your client, so that when you come in to do traffic, if you're an ads agency, you're ready to go, right? And once you're starting running ads, maybe use whatever you have set up. If it's not working to where you want it to be, you look at these three metrics: CTR all, CTR link, and conversion rate, to really drill down on what's working and what's not. Yeah. So with that in mind, I'm curious to know, let's say someone has gone through this process and they want to maybe write a new ad or think of a new creative, or maybe it's in targeting, right? You mentioned that if it's a conversion rate that's struggling, maybe you adjust targeting. So I guess those are three things: the copy, the creative, or the targeting. Yep. Let's start with the copy and creative. Maybe what's your how do you write good copy, right? Like what's your thought process behind that?
Yeah, so it's it's really aligning with who you're trying to reach and understanding what engages with them. Part of that is also testing a lot. Now, in general, what I try to do with my ads, whether it's e-commerce or whatever, is we try to we attempt to basically sell the next step, or what we call we share the domino belief, which is what is the thing that they have to believe first before they believe that our products help them out. Now, for example, what does that mean? For example, if I'm selling my course or my service on Facebook ads, I would need for the people to know that Facebook ads work. Now, because it's possible that people will see my profile. Hey, I heard that this Julian guy is good, but I don't want to get his service because I don't think Facebook ads will work for me. So we identify what is the vehicle. We call that the thing that will bring your prospect from point A to point B. And it's not always you. It's not always you. It's the specific thing that brings them there. So in my case, it's Facebook ads. So we write the ad around why we believe Facebook ads would work for them. And it's not so much about, hey, get me, inquire with me. It's about educating about Facebook ads. Now, how I structure a lot of my my ads would be the framework. If you're familiar with belief, action, result. Some people know it as be, do, have. belief, action, result. So in coaching, so I coach, I'm a life coach as well. We use that framework to help people out. But I use that framework for my ads and my content as well, right? So belief, so it's always belief that will empower an action, and action will give us results. So we identify what are the results that your ideal target audience want. So let's say more sales, right? More sales. And what is the result that they currently have? They don't have sales, right? So that's the result. Then we call out what the actions are, what the possible actions are leading to that wrong result. So if you do an action with a wrong result, what is that called? It's a mistake. So identify the mistake people are making. That's why we have these results. So let's say a lot of people want sales from Facebook ads, but unfortunately, for a lot of people, what they're doing is they're spending a lot, but they're not getting the sales. Now, one big reason for that is, and then we identify the action, one big reason for that is because they're not doing the proper research in place to be able to write effective ad copy. And while most people will just stop there, talk about the action, what we do is we usually go a step deeper, and then we address the belief that causes that action. So we say, so what's a belief that causes people to just not do research? Maybe the belief is that research is not important. Let's say that. So the belief is research is not important. That's why people don't do research, which is the action, and then they don't get results. So we address that in the ad. So a lot of people believe that research is not important. However, no, and then we flip that belief. We offer a different belief. We say, however, for a lot of the campaigns that we have been working with, more than 75% of our clients, we do the proper research. We spend about a week doing the proper planning, the proper research, and everything. And that's what really generates us results. Even newbie advertisers are able to create converting ads because they're always basing it from the research. So that's the new belief. And then we share a new possible action because of that. Excuse me, because of that belief. So because of that belief, maybe the new action is you start to do research. And then because you do that action, what is the new result, which is what they want. And maybe when you do research, you will have more sales or something more polished than that. But basically, that's the whole framework, how I write content, how I write ads. And at the end of it, if you would like to know more about how to do audience research for your Facebook ads, we have a free webinar, blah, blah, blah. Just click the link below. So I think that's really been working well for us. Because we don't only address like the how-to content or the buy this and do that. We address the belief behind why people aren't getting the results that they want. And the whole ad talks about getting people from point A to point B, and then making them understand that, hey, if you really want to get from point A to point B, click below and we'll help you how we can make that happen. Yeah, so that's basically our framework. I usually have visuals when I share this, so I hope it wasn't that confusing. But
No, it was good. It was good. I think that was super gold. I think that whoever's watching this right now is gonna make $1 million the next 3 days.
Yes.
But yeah,
$1
I
million.
think it's so good because I think that's really good because even I was listening. It makes a lot of sense because when a prospect wants to get something, it's usually not without like those predisposed beliefs, right? Yes, they want to get to point A to point B, but they have these, like you say, beliefs that are attached to them that might stop them to take action on what your thing is that will take them from point A to point B. So even if you have the you really clearly say that, hey, you download this ebook or you join this webinar or you opt in for a schedule or appointment, you're gonna get XYZ in terms of result. If you don't prove to them why it's important or like whatever their current beliefs are, then they're not gonna convert, right? So I think it's a very powerful framework. So if anyone's watching this, and they're thinking about their copy and they're looking at their copy and say, "Oh no, it's missing this belief," right? And I believe this really applies no matter what market. Everyone has beliefs. Everyone has these predisposed notions of how the world works or how certain things work. And if you don't, I guess if you don't address them, then you can't cut through, right? I think the most basic principle in copy is the whole, speak as if you're in the mind of your customer.
Yes.
And I think this is the deepest level I think can get, like what their beliefs are. Yeah, you know what they want, where they want to go, but can you really talk to what are their core like beliefs, right? What do they believe? So yeah, that's really powerful. Fran, do you have anything to ask there?
Yeah, and this even transcends Facebook ads, right? This isn't just like for Facebook ads. Like this is
Yes.
fundamental marketing, like at its best. So it's like whether you're running YouTube ads or wherever you are, Pinterest or TikTok, right? It's like this kind of strategy. It's not even a strategy. Like it's a law, right? It's a natural law or something like that. But no, that makes sense. I don't have a question on that specifically, but I have other questions. We're in it, like,
Sure.
do you have any other? Yeah. So it's like, Julian, I think you might have unlocked the secret to life, because it's like you coach people, you've helped 300 business owners, you've coached 2,000 people, not just for Facebook ads, but also life coaching, and apparently you don't age. So it's like, so it's like one of the questions that we have here from Forrest is one of the struggles that he has, right? Is he's an agency owner. It's managing the day-to-day, not being able to optimize ads quickly, and just keeping accounts organized. Like he has 15 accounts currently that he's managing, and I would assume that you're probably doing so much more than that, plus all the other students that you've helped. So it's like, how are you not stressed out in the first place? And it's like, okay, and then I guess the more serious question is, how do you manage like actual day-to-day Facebook ads operations?
Yeah. I guess for the first question, my answer is that why am I not stressed out? Because I believe that it's choice.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's it. But yeah, in terms of managing it, I think what really works well for me is that each particular campaign or each particular account has one main KPI. And I think that is really what allows me to look at everything and then seeing where am I behind, where do I need attention. Because if I have all of these different metrics that I'm tracking all at the same time, I think that's what really will get me stressed out. But I have this one main KPI for each client, and I have one dashboard checking it, whether if it's revenue, whether if it's conversion rate, and where we get that really is, again, aligning with the client. So for example, now we have clients, of course, who want profitability, so we measure revenue. We want clients to have we have clients who are looking to acquire new customers, so our goal there is conversion rate. We have clients who are looking to acquire leads at break even because they have a self-liquidating offer. Our goal there is a return on ad spend of 1 to 1.5. So we have these clear metrics that make it objective, that allows me to remove emotion out of whether or not a campaign is working. Just seeing them all there, and then at least on a day-to-day or every other day looking, are we still on track? Are we not on track? And letting that guide where I should put my attention to, where I should do a little bit more of testing and everything. Because like I have clients who are just, Julian, just give me the word, we can scale. Then that's a different goal. While on the other hand, we have clients who are comfortable at their ad spend now, even if they're primed for scaling, they're comfortable at where they are now. So it's really just managing that. So I guess to really not overcomplicate managing multiple campaigns, it's really understanding what is the goal for each campaign, what is the specific measure that we have for each campaign that will allow us to tell us if it's working, if it's not working, and really removing the guesswork out of it. So yeah, so ideally, if for anyone experiencing that, I would recommend to go into each campaign and then identify what is the one key metric that we would want to track or improve. And if that takes aligning again with your client, then have that call. But I think that will be very, very helpful in terms of managing the campaign. Going back to what I said from the start, really understanding the goal. I really like what a friend of mine shared with me last week. Basically, the analogy he used was, if I asked you to go to the store and I asked you to buy flour, butter, eggs, chocolate, and whatever, and if you don't write it down, then there's a chance that you might miss out on some of those things that I asked you to buy. But if I ask you to go to the market because we're going to bake a cake later, chances are, even if you don't write it down, you'll have a good idea of what you want to buy and everything. Or even better, I might have missed out on something that you know what to get, and then we'll come back with complete ingredients. So I think that's one of the important things there. Not focusing too much on what has to be done and putting all the energy there, but really taking a step back and seeing what is the goal, because that will determine what needs to be done, what needs to be tracked, and everything.
I love that. I think that it aligns so well with our KPI tracking, right, Rainer, where it's like we teach our agency clients and everyone else, where it's like you don't have to track every single little thing, but it's like you got to track, as an owner, at least as an agency owner, the high level metrics, right? And at least what Julian is saying is, what is that one goal, or what is the goal for this client? And that's kind of like what we do with our KPI tracker, where it's like we don't put all the metrics there. We could, but it's like it's not a good use of your time. It's like, what is the one main goal? right? So no, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed. And like, and that's and people are like, oh, so I don't need this CTR all stuff. No, you still do, but like that's the point, right? Of having the big this KPI tracker of sorts or whatever your system is. If you are able to identify that one key metric for the client, put it on a sheet on a dashboard. So every day you're like, oh, 5 out of my 15 are doing well, 5 of them are doing okay, but there's really this 5 left that are in the red. I'm not performing well. So that's when you jump in and you're like, okay, I'm in the ad account. Do that breakdown. What's my CTR all? What's my CTR link? What's my conversion
Yes.
rate? Have I aligned with the offer? And all the things that we've talked about, right? So yeah, I think that's pretty. That's really great insight. If anyone's watching and wants to see the KPI tracker training we did, look through our was it called units or
Guides, yeah.
guides. Take a look
Oh,
before
guides.
we take it down, which we will soon. So we'll be announcing that. Yeah. So, Fran, did you have anything else to add to that? I have a few, I think, last few questions here.
Yeah, I mean, I have a couple. We can save it towards the end. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think so yeah, I'm pretty much I think a lot of people watching the show already gets the idea, right? That it's really on the fundamentals. This is Facebook ads domination, but it's really marketing, right? Like understanding the customer, research, testing. Very understanding. I think the copy thing I think that's it. That's the show for me.
We're done.
So I think that's like anyone can watch the show and take something and apply that tomorrow. But I wanted to stray away a bit from the ads part, like the technical side. One of the few things you mentioned earlier was like, you don't want to overthink a lot, right? You don't want to stress out too much about that. You just want to get out there and test. And I think the mindset of being a media buyer, some agency owners out there are more hands off, but there are others I know that are out there that are really in the ads, doing the weeds and stuff. I want to ask you, like, how do you? Because I know for a fact that when I was earlier on, it's devastating to see campaign results go down, and I think it's just something you gain over time as experience. But I'd love to know, like, what would if you were talking to someone who was like, I'm having a hard time, staying sane because my results are like going up and down every time, and then I'm so stressed, I overthink about a lot of these things. What would you tell them, right?
I think for me, and of course, it didn't get this right off the bat. It took years for me to get to this place. But I think what really works well for me is that understanding that whatever I see on Ads Manager are simply results of my actions, of what I do, of campaigns I put out there or not put out there. But they're not a reflection of me as a person, not a reflection of me as an advertiser or as a strategist. Now, these are just, if I have campaigns that are low, a low conversion rate, then it's simply that. It's simply that the conversion rates are low, and then we move the conversation to then what can we do now. I think that's what really helps me out a lot. Really detaching from the results, seeing that they're simply results of action. Meaning, if I want a different result, then I just change the action, or just change what excuse me, what I do about it. And it's not, it allows me to really take a step back and really not put it personally. I think it also helps it also helps to distinguish.
We're cutting off.
I think Julian cut off.
Oh, Julian cut off.
Yeah.
I thought I cut off.
Sorry.
All right.
Am I clear?
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're
Right. Yeah. Excuse me. So I think one of the other key things is also to understand the difference between fact and opinion. Because opinion is when your campaigns are down, opinion is that your campaigns are down. An opinion could be I'm not a good advertiser or my campaigns aren't working. These are opinions. But what can help is when we focus on facts. What are facts? Conversion. We spent $1,000 and conversion rate is below 1%. That's a fact. That's a verifiable fact. And then we take out the emotion out of it, and then we say, okay, how can we increase conversion rate? A fact is our click-through rate all is 3%. Then how can we improve that? So I think those allow me really to detach. It's looking at the facts. When I do reporting as much as I can, I really take out when I write it out, I go through it again and really take out any opinion back statements like our campaign isn't working, or and change it with our campaign isn't converting at the level we want it to. So there's a difference. I change things like it's very hard. It's been difficult to find working creatives here versus we've tested 8 different creatives, and none are converting, none are above 1% conversion rate. Now those are facts. So when we look at them as facts, we look at what we can change to make that different. So I think that's really what's been helpful.
Gotcha. So separating the results from your, I think the key part is that personal thing. Like it's not you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Your
It's me.
for you, it's it's his friend. All the agency owners out there, if you have bad results, it's friend.
My fault.
So, but yeah, going back to it, I think that's really key, right? Separating yourself from those and not taking it personally. I would even say, like, it's, I think it's now a conversation of reframing and mindset and all that. But for you to be at a level where you're maybe serving 10 clients and maybe 4 are not doing well, and then you have 6 are doing well. You have 6 doing well. Like that's still something to celebrate. It means the actions you take are actually working. It doesn't mean if you have 4 that are not doing well that you're a complete loser or you're a poor agency owner or whatever it is. You've had the track record. You've done something great. So you are able to kind of deliver results. You just have to focus on the action because I think, if you focus, too much on the like, oh my God, it's not working. It also slows you down, right? From thinking about what to do. So that's good to know. So yeah, so I think that'll be very helpful for everyone out there who are still in the level where they're managing the ads, they're trying to figure out what works. I think that's a really important piece, like having a strong mind. So if you have anything to add to that, any questions?
Not on that specifically, but I like it. I like just being able to separate out facts and opinions, and I think that's something it's a good reminder for everyone, right? Like not just for Facebook ads and marketing, but even like for life in general, which is why Julian is also a life coach. So if you guys want to get coached in life, just reach out. But yeah, I do have a couple of questions on another topic, Renard. If you're good with this one.
Yeah, I'm good. That was it for me.
Yeah, so it's like, Julian, so I know you coach a lot of people in the Philippines, right? Tell us a little bit more about that because, and again, like the reason I want to talk about this is we have a lot of agency owners where they're trying to find good talent, right? They're trying to find good talent from all around the world. And I think we need to bridge the gap between what people expect and it's like what they're kind of like, how they hire people and how they approach people. And also bridging the gap of like what the expertise are, right? For people, let's say, coming from the Philippines, because I know there's so much world-class people in the Philippines. All of us in this particular show, we're all Filipinos, right? So it's like, tell us a little bit more about how you coach people. And then let's go to the frameworks of like, how does that client relationship work between an agency and also maybe a media buyer somewhere, right, around the world?
Yeah, hang on. Sorry, could you repeat the question?
Let's start here first. How do you coach people? Like, what is like when it? Because I know like your track record is you've coached 2,000 individuals, right?
Yeah.
Even more than that, right? So what does that entail? Like, is it about media buying and all that?
Yeah. So similar to the framework that I shared with you earlier for content, it's really in understanding where do people want to get to. When someone will approach me, hey, Julian, can you coach me? Can I consult with you? It's really understanding what do you want to happen? What do you want to achieve? So we talk about the results, and if it's something that I think I can help out with, then we work on that. Now, similar to the framework, we look at the actions that the person has been taking. Are their actions misaligned, or are they not taking action as well? Especially if it's around Facebook ads and marketing, then we support there. We provide consulting help there. Hey, do this, target this. This is a strategy that you can do, or anything. But for some of my clients, we also go again a deeper level, which is around belief. Like right now, I'm coaching someone one-on-one. She feels that it's very difficult for her to provide results and everything. She feels she doesn't understand ad campaign management and everything. So I asked her to do an audit. So I asked her to record a Loom video of her auditing an ad campaign, and I was surprised to see that she was actually very skilled. She was skilled, just more skilled than a lot of advertisers whom I've worked with. So it wasn't really so much in the action, but really in the belief that she wasn't good. That whatever beliefs have been stopping her. So we're working on that. So I think how I coach people is both in that aspect, wherein I consult as an advertiser, telling people or helping people understand who's your target market, what's your offer, what steps do we need to take to be able to improve our campaigns. And then we take a step back and understand what are beliefs that are causing the actions that are not aligned to your goal, so that we can start to help you out as well. So that when we have the proper beliefs that will empower them, we have the proper actions that will get them results, then that brings them to their goal. I think that's how we work with our coaching.
All right, Joe. And here's a belief I don't like. Here's a belief I hate in the market, right? It's like, I'm just gonna say, but there are people out there. It's like, hey, I'm trying to look for a freaking VA for like $2-3 an hour, and it's like, wait a minute, bro. It's like, first of all, it's like you can't, like, that's just too low. Second is, it's like whenever someone from another country tries to, let's say, offer them a high ticket service, right? Let's say, a Facebook marketer, it's like, hey, fees 1,000, 2,000, whatever. They're like, whoa, that's too high for someone, and it's like, what? Just because from where they're from, right? I hate seeing that, right? I hate seeing that. So, Julian, like, how can we bridge that gap? Like, how can we freaking fix this in the industry where it's like how do you teach your students, at least, like, I assume you teach them to charge high prices, right?
Mhm.
Charge what they're worth, give value and all that. So what are your thoughts around that? And hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. So how I teach around pricing is, again, it's I do it based on how I do it. I teach how I do it. Again, not complicated, not overthinking. And when someone would come and ask me, how much should I price for this? How much should I charge for this? I would always flip back the question and ask, how much do you want to receive? Because I think what a lot of people are doing is they take all the deliverables, they take all what they need to do, and then they start to think, what should be a good price for this? And then they go into overthinking. Will the client accept? Will the prospect, everything. I think it's not a bad thing, but it's not just how I prefer to do it. So I would always go with how much do I want to receive? And then I would multiply that by 10. So for example, if I wanted to receive, let's say, $1,000 retainer, my goal then, my next step would be to identify how do I give my client additional 10,000 in revenue. So times 10. There's no basis for that. It's just a multiplier I came up with. So now I have a target in mind. I have a target in mind, additional $10,000. Now I create the strategy to be able to do that. If the client has already campaigns, I look at their previous campaigns, I do an audit, I look at all the percentages, and then I look at where we can improve. For example, if we improve the targeting, this will improve conversion rate. And if we do the math, will that get the goal? If we increase the ad spend, we improve the creatives, will that get to the target? Now I have a clearer picture on what I will do, and it's not just really action based, like do this, do campaigns and everything. We're actually able to create a strategy because we have a goal. Now, if we have a difficult time getting there, for example, I want to charge $1,000, and then I can see a clear path to the $10,000 revenue goal, then that depends. If I really want to work with the client, I'm open to negotiating my rate, or at least starting with something lower to be able to test out. And then we include in the contract, for example, okay, let's say we'll start with $500, but it's due for negotiation after 3 months, when we have more data, when we can have a clearer picture of where you're at, so that we can hit your goals and everything. So I don't know if this answers your question, but that's really how I teach and how I share. Some people prefer to really start charging thousands of dollars per month. I mean, that's fine. People prefer to charge a bit lower. I mean, for me, that's fine. I mean, it's your business, but at the end of the day, for me, as an entrepreneur whose whole business is really evolves around me, I prefer to really keep things simple. And for me, that's simple, but still aligns with how I can support my client.
That makes sense. It's just a message for everyone, right, in this group. It's like, if you're working with someone, it's like, don't just look at the cost of it and the expenses. Obviously, as a business owner, you're looking at that, but also looking at, like, what is the potential upside, right?
Yeah.
Even, like, regardless if you're trying to hire someone or you're trying to pitch a client, right? Where it's like, just trying to remember that it's like, it's not super complicated, like what Julian said, but it's always also looking at the upside, like what's the realistic and potential number that we can actually reach. For Julia, it might be 10x. For your market, it might be different. But again, right, just because, it's like, just look at the potential upside. So Rainer, any thoughts on that?
No, yeah, I think that drives home the point. I think it's just like, when it comes to talent, that's one of the things that, a lot of people have questions on: where to find people, where to find great people. They're everywhere, right? And what you don't want to do is push people away, because you want to, like, you want to get someone at that the rates that Fran mentioned, 2, 3, or whatever it is, right? Whenever you try to work with someone, course, do your due diligence. But similar to Julian, make sure you're working with someone who does their due diligence as well with you, right? So as Julian, Julian coaches 2,000, so many people already. I'm sure if you've come across a Facebook media buyer from the Philippines, they know who he is or has been, a student of his, most likely. So you know that if you're watching this show, that a lot of these, no matter where they're from, Philippines, wherever, usually if they ask these questions with you and really care about the goals, like Julian mentioned, the strategy, then they're also thinking about that upside. So whatever they charge, think about like how can this, again, as Fran said, deliver on the upside, or what potential results can I drive out of, no matter where they're from, right? Because you might be pushing away really great talent or really great team members just because, I'm expecting to pay this much, but not thinking about, if I actually spend a bit more to get someone who has this experience, who cares about my business this way, as Julian has walked us through, it might 10x my business, just as Julian's standards are just like insane. So that's all I had to add to that.
Love it. And if you're an agency owner, you're a business, you're trying to, find some good talent, just ask them, who are you learning from? And if you see Julian's name there, chances are they'd be super good. So it's like, just make sure his name is there. But dude, I love that. One last question, which I think is such a big question. I don't know if you have an answer for this too, but it's like, people are getting zucked here and there, right? And when I say zuck, it's like lingo for, your account's getting banned, right? So what are your, what maybe strategies, or have you cracked the code on that of people just making sure they don't get banned from Facebook, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess just for understanding, it's I think a lot of people forget that, while all of this is great, it's not our platform. So the honest truth of it is Facebook can actually do whatever the hell they want. But yeah, I mean, that doesn't mean that we can't do things, that we can't be responsible for our own campaigns. I think the number one there is really to stay compliant. Just bookmark the Facebook ads policies. It's a quick read. I go through it at least twice a month, every other week, just to see for any updates, because Facebook no longer gives, hey, we have a new updated policy. They just add it. So you can bookmark that, check it, quick read, and then really staying compliant. Number two is making sure that any pending from the past, any pending campaigns from the past, or ad accounts that have been disabled, are officially closed. I think what a lot of people are experiencing is, hey, I have a disabled ad account, let's just move on to a new business manager, or a new ad account, or whatever. But that's a surefire way to continuously get banned and disabled, because Facebook will still be able to trace it back to you. So what I recommend is you appeal. Now, even if people say that I've already appealed, it was rejected and everything, appeal again through chat support and everything. And if it really is not working, then ask your next step from Facebook. I've done this. I got my it's an old account. Got it restricted. I actually got on a phone with someone, a Facebook marketing expert, and she really helped me out through all this. When she looked at the campaign, he said, I think it was wrongly tagged, but we're not able to reinstate it and everything. So I asked what would be my next step. And then that's when they told me that I could start a new profile. Now, I've been always against having a second profile, simply because it's against policy. It's very clear that you're not allowed to have a second profile. So I brought that up. I said, are you sure? You're telling me to start a new profile so I can create a new advertising account, but that's against policy. And then it was them that told me that, yes, sir, it's against policy, but in this case, because so that you can continue to run ads and everything, we're allowing you to be able to do this. I had that sent over in writing via email, took a screenshot, and then created my campaign. And then we've been running from that ever since. I think what a lot of people are doing is just to simply move on, but without having that conversation, without officially closing, without asking Facebook what would be my next step. That's why people are starting new ad accounts, publishing, and then right at the moment that they publish, they get disabled because they didn't close the previous account. So I think it's really just being able to be responsible, know the policies, and if you have disabled accounts, do the proper actions to be able to close them and move forward responsibly.
That's very good advice. It somehow feels like life itself, where it's like you can't just hide your mistakes in the past, right?
Yeah.
Like you try to move on and you try to
Yeah.
cover it, and it's like it'll
Yeah.
pop out at some time in the future. So you got to kind of appeal and all that. So that's super interesting, man. It's super interesting. So for anyone that's watching either live or on the replay, make sure you don't cover up your mistakes in the past. You try to open that up and try to make amends and ask for forgiveness from Mr. Zuckerberg, and yeah, try try it out. So, Julian, this has been such an awesome interview, man. Like I learned so much. I'm sure Rainer has too.
Yep.
And this is gonna go in our guide section. People years from now, they're gonna see it. Rainer's kid is probably gonna see it. So it's like it's gonna be amazing, man. So where can people, if people want to connect with you, either through a private client relationship or through coaching, or just they just want to follow you in general, how can they do that?
Yeah, so again, I'd like to take this time to thank you, Fran, Reynard, for this time, for everyone watching. Yeah, if anyone wants to follow me, I mean, I'm in the group. So thank you for adding me to the group. I'm tagged there. You can follow my profile there. You can also look for my page, Julian Canita, on Facebook, on YouTube. Where am I else? Yeah, those are the main channels. Yeah, I'm just there.
I love it. I love it. Rainer, anything else you want to add, man?
No, that should be it. Very insightful expert interview here.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. We've had a couple people just come in and out from this interview, and I'm sure more and more people. Someone says here, thanks, Julian. I only see Facebook user, so I don't know who this is specifically, but I agree. Thanks, Julian. A big clap.
Thank
and
you.
It's like, thank you so much for gracing us here and just for teaching us a lot of things, right? Not just like the tactics and strategies, but also the fundamentals and even shifting some of the beliefs that people have. So we're super grateful for that. Again, go ahead and search for Julian. He's in the group. Julian Canita. Is it Canita or
Canita with
Canita, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, go ahead. I believe, I'm not sure if you have a Facebook group. I don't know, but it's like, just go search for him. He creates lots of good posts. Like I read it. It's like whenever he posts, I'm like, I'm just devouring this puppy. So it's like, dude, thanks so much. And yeah, we'll see you next time.
Thanks. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.